Let's dive into the latest circus act from the Democrat Party. Nancy Pelosi, in all her glory, taking to CNN to defend President Biden despite his catastrophic performance at the debate last week. An 84-year-old alcoholic, alleged alcoholic, going on TV, live TV at that, to defend an 81-year-old alleged dementia patient. They haven't actually come out and said that that is the case, but so many of y'all have dropped that down in the comment section and have informed me that that may be his situation because you guys have had grandparents or parents go through this. So we have to say alleged. But those two have spent a combined 100 years in government, but want to blame everything on the guy who only spent 4 years in office. Cut it out. This is after the New York Times editorial board called on Biden to drop out of the race, saying that exiting would be, quote, the greatest public service the president can perform after his debate performance. If you haven't seen it, Pelosi's mental gymnastics are something to behold.
A new CBS YouGov poll out this morning that was taken after the debate finds that 72% of voters now say they do not think President Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve as president. Here with me now is one of the top officials in the Democratic Party, a close ally of President Biden, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for being here. What is your reaction to that poll? 72% of voters say they don't think that the president is fit mentally or cognitively to be president.
Well, what do they think about the other guy? Do they think that he has the integrity to be president after that performance? Let us not make a judgment about a presidency on one debate. Let's talk about what it means to people in their lives. And that's why you're not seeing much change in the polls on this. The difference between Joe Biden and the former president is so clear. If you are a woman and you care about your reproductive freedom and your health, and women do, you see a complete difference between enforce a woman's right to choose on the part of Joe Biden and a ban on abortion with the other guy. If you care about job creation in America, 15 million more jobs created by Joe Biden, the worst job performance record since Herbert Hoover for the other guy. If you're concerned about saving the planet, you're a young person, you're caring about the planet and its future, Joe Biden, the first person in the Congress to pass a resolution to study the climate change in the 80s, even before I was in Congress. A guy who goes to the fossil fuel industry and says, give me $1 billion so I can reverse what happened in the IRA to save the planet. The list goes on and on, whether you're talking about guns and the rest. And 16 Nobel laureates said when it comes to inflation, if the other guy gets elected, inflation will soar because of his fiscal policies. So it's not about performance in terms of a debate. It's about performance in a presidency. And I want you to know that the fact is that the reaction to the lies of Donald Trump is something that maybe TV isn't focusing on, but people are. And to have a debate where you have to spend half your time negating what he said because he has knows nothing about the truth. On one side of the screen, you have integrity. The other side, you have dishonesty.
What do they think about the other guy? I don't know, Nancy. Maybe that other guy can actually keep it together. Maybe that he can string more than two sentences together without losing his train of thought. The difference between the other guy and Joe Biden is clear. Americans are struggling under Joe Biden. They weren't under the other guy. And I wonder if these Nobel Prize winning economists predicting doom and gloom with Trump are currently economic advisors to Joe. Like, come on, we know they're donors. What Democrats don't seem to understand is that this wasn't just about the debate. It was a glaring example of Biden's decline, which we've been seeing for months, if not years. And it seemed like even the Democrats couldn't hide it any longer after the debate last Thursday. But now you have Democratic lawmakers making the rounds on leftist media, lying to us again about what we saw. What's the game here? I personally don't think Pelosi would be on national TV defending Biden if he were dropping out. Democrats are stuck with him. Ballot deadlines have passed in Wisconsin, Nevada, and soon in Georgia. His decline was evident in 2020. This naked obsession with power has put Biden's interests ahead of the Democrat Party, and worst of all, ahead of the nation. Having a demented president is a real national security risk. And give me a break with all this integrity talk. The lies of Donald Trump, this is just the usual rhetoric about Trump being dishonest and lacking integrity. It's laughable, really. Honesty coming from a party that's bending over backwards to cover Biden's obvious decline. Honesty, really, from the same party that has spent years trying to convince people that men can be women and women can be men. That's rich. What about your lies, Nancy? Trump brought up the fact that then House Speaker Pelosi turned down his offer to send 10,000 National Guard soldiers to the Capitol on January 6th.
And what do you say to former President Trump, who blames you for January 6th and says you didn't take his offer for the National Guard?
He thinks I planned my own assassination. He's sicker than I thought.
1 minute later.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
There's not a question of how they had, they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare.
Nancy has a history of bending the truth, and this is no different. At least she's honest when she doesn't think the cameras are watching. But while she might be a master gaslighter, the facts tell a different story. It's all a part of the same deceptive playbook. They know that more and more people are starting to see through their lies. So what do? They double down.
The reality is there are still a lot of concerns that Joe Biden is the person to get you to that point, to making sure that Donald Trump is not back in there. No. Some prominent columnists, several newspaper editorial boards are just simply calling for Biden to step aside for the good of the country. Tom Friedman, a friend of President Biden's, wrote the following. He wrote, Joe Biden, a good man and a good president, has no business running for re-election. If he insists on running and he loses to Trump, Biden and his family and his staff and party members who enabled him will not be able to show their faces. What do you say to that? Is there any part of you that believes that President Biden should step aside?
I want you to know I came home to California, South and North, and people are for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They have some judgment about a person who sat on that, stood on that stage and lied. If you're just talking about the debate, I'm respectful of some of the opinions that people have, but I also am respectful of the grassroots. My people are very much Biden, Kamala Harris. And this is an opportunity for Joe Biden to go out there and show he has the stamina and the rest. And by the way, while the press, and for some reason they don't, there are healthcare professionals who think that Trump has dementia, that his connection, his thoughts do not go together. Not only that he just lies, he doesn't even know the truth. So if we're just talking about mental acuity, let's be fair about it. I don't think Tom Friedman thinks that Donald Trump should be president of the United States. And while he may be saying we're enablers, we see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issues, how informed he is. And I debate with him about legislation, and not debate, but discuss it with him. He's right there. So in any case, it was a bad night. Let's not sugarcoat that. It was a bad night. It was a great presidency. And that's what the American people have to choose. A night where somebody's going to just misrepresent the facts completely, and then you're on your guard. The other person has to negate that, or again, it was a bad night. Let's move on from that. It's all an opportunity. Our members have been very thoughtful. They're very concerned about a president who would lie the way they do, and then the Republicans just go embrace those misrepresentations.
Let me ask you about those members, because there are House and Senate Democrats who are worried that Joe Biden could be a drag on their races and could ultimately cost you the Senate, maybe even the ability to retake the House. Do you have any of those concerns?
We definitely will win the House of Representatives. It may come as a surprise to you, but when they saw the performance of Trump, donors doubled down and said, we absolutely have to have the Congress. So it kind of had an opposite effect in terms of the races. The members are always concerned about the top of the ticket. That's just the way it is. They're always concerned about the top of the ticket.
Are they more concerned now?
But I don't think well, we'll see. You can't make a judgment after one night. We'll just see. As Hakeem has said, we'll have our discussions as we go forward.
A bad night, but a great presidency? Do they think we're delusional? I think we can all make a clear judgment after that debate performance. And the real kicker, gaslighting the audience, the American people, by suggesting that healthcare professionals think Trump is the one with dementia. You heard it right here, folks. Pelosi suggesting the man who's been holding rallies, speaking coherently, and running a vigorous campaign is the one with dementia. Classic projection. As always, trying to distract from Biden's issues by pointing their finger at Trump. You can't make this stuff up, man. Biden doesn't have the stamina to lead. Watching him struggle through his duties is like watching a wind-up toy that's run out of juice. It's time to replace the batteries, or better yet, get a new toy altogether. The only way out may be for Biden to step down and let Harris take over. But Democrats know she is so unpopular. She's more unpopular than he is. Democrats don't have a Biden problem. They have a brand problem. Pelosi and the Democratic establishment are in full panic mode. They're desperate. They're seeing the writing on the wall, but are trying to hold on to power at all costs. They'll say anything, twist any narrative to keep Biden in office, despite the overwhelming evidence that he is not fit for the position. And if they've seen Joe Biden up close, how can they even suggest that he's attuned to the issues? George Orwell cautioned us about this. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. They're worried behind closed doors, but they dug themselves into a hole that's hard to get out of. The establishment is in a frenzy because they see the ship sinking, and they're trying to plug the holes with lies and misdirection. What are your thoughts on this whole debacle? Should Biden step down? And if so, who do you think the Democrats will push forward? Newsom? Kamala? It's a mess, and they're running out of time. But I want to hear from you guys. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Consider joining the ARP family. It supports the team, it supports me, it supports the channel. It gives us the ability to push this type of content to you on a day-to-day basis. I appreciate each and every person that has joined the ARP family. I really, really appreciate you all. Keep God first in your life, stay prayed up, and I'm gonna catch up with you all next time. Peace.